Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome and welcome back to Cover Brand. I'm Ethan Decker. Today I have Jay Friedman on the show for an episode of Shop Talk. Jay, how are you?
Wonderful. How are you? And thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. I'm very excited to talk to another Madison alum since my nephew's now there.
Awesome.
But you're not a Madison alum. You're a Wisconsin alum?
Yeah, I mean, it's UW-Madison. Madison's the location of the flagship school, I guess, for Wisconsin.
There you go.
So, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So yes, it's really fun to have you, and I'm really excited to get into what we're going to talk about when it comes to branding. But first, we have to do some banding.
Let's
Cover
do it.
Brand starts with cover songs. What cover song did you want to bring?
So I would bring "Through the Wire" by Kanye, or now I guess known as Ye, but you know.
Okay. Did you listen to a lot of Kanye growing up?
Yeah. I mean, he's obviously, as a person, incredibly controversial and does some things that, you know, don't sit all that well with me. But as an artist,
Yeah.
I've done like quite a bit of like research into his lyrics and interviews and everything, and there's some interesting stuff in there.
Are you a musician as well?
I am not a musician.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be terrible but I do like the art.
Yeah, absolutely. So Through the Wire, that came out around 2000, right?
Yeah, it was just after 2000.
Yeah.
And it was just after he got into a really, really bad car accident.
Right.
And had to have his jaw shut and wired shut to repair.
Right.
And so he was listening to Shaka Khan's "Through the Fire," and he said, you know, I have to talk through the wire.
Oh, geez.
So that's kind of how it came about. And he wrote a song and he rapped the entire thing with his jaw wired shut.
Oh man, yeah, that's nuts. That's a certain kind of crazy that is so driven to do their stuff that they'll do that even when they're.
That's the grit and determination. That's a lot. I mean, I do like the song, but that's a lot of why I like it. Is like, you know, I think it's very easy to find reasons not to do things in today's world. And you know, my thing is, even if your jaw's wired shut, it's time to produce a rap song. You know.
Seriously. I mean, that's so much of the difference between success and failure is just doing and trying.
Yep.
And there's this guy, Martin Seligman, who studies optimism and positivity and positive psychology. And he says, you know, it's it's not being an idealist, but the notion of an optimist quite simply says, let's try, let's do. And then your chances of success are still abysmal and small, but they're infinitely bigger than people who don't try and do.
Literally infinitely, because you're dividing by zero.
Exactly. Yeah. Through the Wire. So, and that was a Shaka Khan, Through the Fire, and that was from the 80s, because she was really big back in the 80s.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so, and that's not quite a cover. It's a cover / sample, right?
Yeah, it's a sample. Yep.
Yeah. I think there's a gray area when a song heavily samples.
Exactly. So I think in rap it's interpolation is the middle, right, between like sample and cover and straight up cover.
Got it. Yeah, it's kind of its own category. There's that range from things which I don't even think are necessarily covers, but you're just singing a standard like My Funny Valentine.
Yeah.
All the way to just dropping a tiny bit of a sample in a track and you don't know where it came from, and then in the middle you've got stuff like Kanye West doing Shaka Khan.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What could go
That's
wrong?
a good one. What could go wrong? Well, nothing can go wrong after he got into the car crash and his jaw wired shut. Everything has to get better from there.
Yeah, amazing stuff.
Yeah. So I will add that to the Cover Brand cover song playlist on Spotify.
I love it.
We have a whole collection of them there, so you can listen to everything else everyone's brought to the show. And I will cue it up so I can hear it right after this. But let's take a quick break. And we'll be back with Jay Friedman after this. Today's episode of Cover Brand is sponsored by the Positioning Chair, the only chair guaranteed to help you own your space. It's also the only chair we have here at Applied Brand Science. We love how it shapes our cheeks and gets us in alignment. It also has this incredible mesh that breathes like Egyptian cotton. Sit differently, sit memorably. The Positioning Chair, because if you don't define your seat, someone else will. And we're back. So Jay, for those who don't know what you do, give people an overview of your business and your company, and then we can get into what you're seeing out there in the world of branding and marketing.
Yeah, of course. Thanks. I am co-founder of a new startup called Cartograph AI, and cartograph meaning or stemming from cartography and mapping.
Yep.
And and what we have found is that my partner and I have found that on the brand side, on the agency side, selecting the right tools and vendors can be a true competitive advantage. But selecting the right tools and vendors has gone from challenging to exhausting.
Seriously.
Not only is, you look at the chief martech, 15,000 vendors and all that other stuff,
Right.
but now anybody with a Claude Code subscription and a weekend can spin up a website that makes your tool look magical.
Right.
And now there are 10 tools that look magical. And so the really good tools and vendors out there have to fight through even more clutter than ever.
Yeah.
And so, and so whether you're choosing an MMM vendor or you're choosing, a creative analysis vendor, like the difference between good and bad is huge.
Oh, for MMMs, which are media mix models, right, where you plug in 50 to 300 variables to understand really cause and effect and what actually drove sales in the short term and maybe even the long term. Like MMMs, you're right, not only are they complex and sophisticated and easy to screw up, because just a little change, what I like to say, I told another colleague this recently, an MMM is a really big equation.
Yep.
And if any one of those terms in the equation is a turd, the whole thing is a turd.
Yep.
It's not like the rest of the good dwarfs the bad. It's more like one turd in the punch bowl ruins the whole punch. No one's going to drink it. But if you don't know that, you think that all the other good math in the equation will cover for the one turd, and it doesn't. And for that, you need more than just a sexy website that says you do MMMs. You need
real math and you need real experience.
Yeah, you need real quality. And you're right, with all of the like Claude Code and with people being able to gin up websites or gin up AI businesses or have AI gin up their business, it's really hard to tell shit from Shinola.
Yeah, so it is. And so we've built a business now that essentially does just that. And we'll launch our site within, 6 weeks or so. But agencies and brands will be allowed at no charge to come and get expert assessments on pretty much any vendor in the ecosystem, or request the assessment if it's not there.
Right. Is this another level of like the Gartner Magic Quadrant? And
yes.
For those who don't know what that is, that's like consumer reports for business services.
Yeah.
Like is Bissell better than Dyson for your dog vacuum? You go to Consumer Reports, and if you want to get like a enterprise level email services, you go to Gartner, and they rank all the enterprise email services. So this is a bit like that.
Yeah. So where we fit is there are the professional analysts like Gartner you just mentioned.
Yep.
But those reports are typically pay to play.
Okay.
And
So it's not fully an independent Consumer Reports type thing.
Right. So they're often pay to play, and I think the people that I've spoken to have found that some of those analyses lack some of the true practitioner components.
Yeah.
And then, we've had people say like, oh, we go to the B2B review sites, tool review sites, like I guess G2, Capterra, stuff like that. Yeah. And I think those are really good for what they are, but they don't get deep into the MMM vendor, like the subcategories.
Yeah.
And its user reviews.
Right.
Right. Which absolutely has its benefits, but it's not like battle tested. And so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. You gotta consider the source, and
Right.
you gotta consider the bias in that sample of who's posting reviews.
Yeah.
And nowadays, just like with Amazon, you gotta consider fraud, that people are gonna game the system.
That's it. And so for us, there's no pay to play on the vendor side.
Okay.
Vendors are going to be able to pay to like enhance their profile with videos and case studies and all that other stuff, but they can be listed for free, and that's totally fine.
Got it.
And then we know brands and agencies will use the site, but often may say, hey, look, this is actually more complex than we thought. Can you come in and consult?
Right. So just going back to that example, I know you do a lot of other marketing tech services. There's many, but just to go to the MMM example, the marketing mix models. One thing that Grace Kite liked to say, Grace Kite created magic numbers and then sold that off. It's a great MMM company. Is that over half of the work of an MMM is the people work and not the tech.
Yeah.
Right? You've got adoption, first of all. You've got office politics, second.
Oh, huge.
Right? And then for the MMM, you're looking at things like, if we're going to move 30% of our budget from, let's say from TV advertising to retail media to make things more effective, the people who run the TV advertising are going to feel threatened.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But that's the case, I think, across so many different tool categories.
Oh, yeah.
So if you look at like an anchor tool for creative, you've got the ad server component, you've got the digital asset management component, you've got the dynamic component, right? And if the person at the whatever appropriate level it is decides, all right, we're going to go with this tool, and it's more rooted in the ad serving, those people may feel threatened.
Yes.
Right. That control that. Whereas if it's more rooted over here, and so this is, I'm going to put out something. I'll tease it here, but I'm going to put out something in a couple of weeks called the Pangeification of ad tech and martech tools.
Okay.
Because up until the last year or so, I think you've had specific tools for each. You've had an MMM tool, you've had an incrementality tool, but I'm seeing like the tool that was just media buying now encompasses optimization and reporting and strategy on the other side, and so we're seeing this Pangeification of tools across the ecosystem.
And that's a reference, of course, to Pangea, which is the landmass that all the continents used to be a part of. It was one big landmass.
Yes, and it's split up, and now it's reassembling, but only in ad tech and martech tool form.
Right. Okay, so maybe it's also the iPhoneification. Because do you remember when Steve Jobs did his first iPhone keynote to introduce it? And he's like, we've got 3 revolutionary products for you.
Yep.
We've got a browser, a mobile web browser. We've got a mobile phone, and we've got a music player.
Yeah, right.
And he talked about these 3 revolutionary products, and then the big surprise was actually, nope, just kidding, they're one. Right. It's all in iPhone.
Yep.
Which, of course, didn't have the participle the. It was just iPhone.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
It's not the Steve. It's Steve.
Right. Yeah. I'm still the J, but that's okay.
Yeah. You know what? That's a little more distinguishing as well. I am the J. I am not Jay. I am the Jay.
Right. Yeah.
But right, so it's the iPhoneification. All these things are coming together into one. The Pangeification. Cool.
Yeah. That's what we're seeing.
So then here's another question.
Yeah.
AI is supposed to, there's an element in which people believe AI is eliminating the need for discernment because AI does all the thinking for you, eliminates the politics because AI can manage things and it's not human, eliminates the need for people because AI is all the brains mashed up in one. But here you're saying that the politics isn't necessarily going to change in an office, and that people still need your help, the J. They need to call in the J because they still need hand-holding and understanding how to implement or whatnot. Like, where are you seeing that interface still between machine and man, machine and person?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the integration of AI into the workplace, I think, I don't know, 6 out of 10 people I speak with today say we're not allowed to use anything but Copilot.
Okay.
And so, like, I think
Wow.
we're right.
Really?
We're really not where the rest of us think everything is.
Is that because your connections are in a Microsoft saturated world, or is that just you think it's pretty broad in the marketplace?
It's large enterprise.
Okay, large enterprise, and therefore Microsoft, and therefore Copilot.
Right. So,
Okay.
there was this, mental, I don't know, congruency or whatever of like, we trust Microsoft with our security. They have an AI product, so we're going to enable it. I don't have time to vet another one.
I know.
So,
Yeah. As an aside, I gotta say, that's such a great frickin' example of how B2B is so much like B2C.
Yeah.
People think B2B is so different. Business to business marketing is so different than business to consumer. But here's a great example of supposedly a massive steering committee that has to decide a massive
Correct.
question about AI integration with procurement and legal and finance all involved in a committee, right? Therefore, lots of brains and lots of people. And what do? They go with the default because it's easy as shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
I mean, and nobody gets fired, right? Nobody gets fired for the wrong tool. For the wrong
Yep.
tool. Yeah.
Yep. Right. Yeah. Okay, so there's still all of these normal human behaviors, normal human shopping behaviors, even in this advanced world of AI and tech and cloud.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think if, you look at when large enterprises, they have, 74 different requirements for a vendor. Like they have to be these certifications, they have to have this level of all this other stuff. I mean, each one of those, I always say, like, no law ever got created without someone having done something to prompt creating the law around it, right? Like,
right, correct.
Dodd-Frank wouldn't have happened, had the financial engineering not happened. And
Correct.
so all of those 74 requirements on a large enterprise procurement list is generally because something went wrong at some point, and
Yeah.
they said we can't let that happen again.
Like, oh crap, we need to cover against that. We need
Right.
a rule.
Correct. And so, but the reality is that 99 times out of 100, that's not going to go wrong.
Yep.
Right. And so I think that's where just helping risk assess
Right.
it can be helpful.
So you come in as a human and you help do that analysis and conversation.
Yeah. So I think I think one of the hardest things is if you look at, let's just take like the world of DSPs, demand side platforms in the paid media world. And people say, well, which one's the best? And I go, well, that really, really depends on what you need.
Yep.
And if you are a global advertiser, then, it's probably one of these 3 or whatever.
Yep.
If you are most heavy in Europe, then this one kind of pulls ahead. If you, or if you are a mid-market advertiser, then no, I'd probably not look at those, but I'd go more here.
Right.
And that's just size. That's not even category. That's not even capability.
Yeah. No, people often just want to know what's the best, and then the terrible response is, well, it depends, and what are your needs? Like
Right.
even for goggles for swimming, I dabble in triathlon, but
Nice.
what's the best goggle?
Right.
And is it
What are you doing?
Arena? Is it Speedo? Is
Right.
it Nike? And it's what are you using it for? What are the conditions? Are you out in the
That's it.
chop, in the surf, in
Right.
the bay, swimming in the bay, or are you in a pool where it's clean and it's bright, or are you? Oh God, I do one. I do a little triathlon here in Boulder, and it just so happens that in the summer, when I'm swimming in the Boulder Reservoir and you're heading out east near sunrise, the sun is right in your face.
Yep.
So you can't even see where you're going because the buoy is being completely glared off the water by the sun. So like it depends. It depends which one,
Right.
what's right for you. So you need guidance and help.
Yeah, and I think AI can do a lot, and people should use it for more. I think what AI has in starting this business has allowed us to do is I'm able to accomplish 3x what I would have beforehand.
Right. Right.
But there are checkpoints with everything I'm doing, whether it's taxes, legal, website design. There are checkpoints where I still hire experts, human experts, to come in and say, like, great, AI told me this, but you've designed how many? Oh, 812 websites now. Cool. You probably have a much better idea than me or the AI as to how people are going to navigate.
Right. 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 Okay.
Yeah.
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 It's so interesting in the way that AI changes everything and yet changes nothing.
Yeah, the core fundamentals. I mean, look, the only reason history repeats itself is because we all grow, we grow too old, or the people who lived it die off.
Yeah.
And people go, well, why don't we try this? But like, no, it was
Yeah.
tried before. You just don't have the visceral memory of it.
It's true. It is true. It is true. I find that when I talk about brand science, for instance, some of these scientific laws have been around for 30, 40, and 50 years.
Yep.
And so if I were to say something about it, like on LinkedIn or I write articles, I invariably have someone say to me, well, yeah, so-and-so discovered that in 1986. And I'm like, true. And yet, how many hundreds of thousands of young marketers have no clue who so-and-so is?
Oh,
Like, chill out, because there's a whole new generation that doesn't know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think if you went and asked your average ad agency that has 200 people, let's say,
Uh,
who's Lee Clow? I think if you got 10 out of 200, I'd be blown away happy.
right.
Right.
You need to, for the listeners, you need to explain who the hell Lee Clow is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, creative director, Chiat Day, was it like 90s? But Yo Quiero Taco Bell and Levi's campaigns, and just a brilliant, just understood the cognitive associations that consumers make with brands and the identity congruency that people have to have.
So you know what? I think it's funny because outside of marketing, I think most people will remember Yo Quiero Taco Bell, the little
Right.
chihuahua,
Sure.
right? And yet inside of marketing, what most people probably talk about with Lee Clow is this one Macintosh ad that Lee Clow helped make for when Macintosh was launched, and it's based on like, I don't know, George Orwell's 1984, and it was directed by Ridley Scott, who directed Alien. But yeah, so Lee Clow is Mr. Famous in advertising, but you're right. Maybe 1 out of 10 would remember who he is.
Yeah, and I think I mean in advertising, I think you get a lot of people who want to learn about it, but they don't read Reason Trout, much less Zaltman, much less and I think that there is so much science to understanding how people associate their own identity with a brand identity, and there's so much good science to be done there.
Yep.
And I just, I see very little of it.
Right. So there's in a sense, the old is always new for someone.
Yeah. And if they were
Right.
smart, they'd hire someone who's great at brand science.
Oh my gosh. I wonder who that could be.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
So
we'll figure
so
it-
when so Cartograph AI,
Yeah.
that's the company, the platform. Is it? Would you call it a platform, a service? What would you call it?
Yeah, it is a platform where I think both sides can go to make sure that the right information is presented and processed. But ultimately, it's where brands and agencies are going to be able to go and essentially, one of the phrases I keep repeating, two phrases. You can even tell me from a brand science perspective which may work better. But
Okay, let's talk.
yeah, it's minutes, not months. Right.
Okay.
It's where you can get all of the intel you need around a category, around a vendor, or around a set of vendors in minutes instead of months. And the other one I keep using is fifth meeting intelligence in 30 seconds.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
They're both good.
yeah. So I'll keep saying both and see which one sticks.
Well, yeah, you should. I mean, okay, so minutes, not months, has a lovely poetry to it.
Right. It's alliteration and yeah.
Yep, which is not a small thing because people can't remember where their car keys are. So
Yeah. M. Who doesn't like M&M?
M&M, minutes, not months.
Yeah.
Do it in minutes, not in months. It reminds me of 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. And
That's
that was
exactly
based on research, but the research came back and it said actually the average estimation was about 18 minutes and the average percent was something like 14%. And they're like, 18 minutes can save you 14%. Sounds terrible.
Correct.
So
Yep.
they did some roundings, but
That's okay.
And then they stuck with it for a good, 15 years?
Sticking with it is perhaps, I mean, I see so many people and they want to make their mark on a role and they say, maybe we need a rebrand and it creates a ton of work and it makes your job very important for a while.
Yep.
But the value of sticking with, a brand or a vendor at times, to be honest with you, and working through problems with whatever it may be, there is tremendous value there. And it's not just the relationship, really. Switching cost of any kind, vendor, brand, switching cost is so much higher than people give credit to.
Yes. Okay, to that point, switching from Salesforce to HubSpot.
Years.
Right? Years of work and exhaustion and frustration. You know what? The same thing happens. I love that this is such a B2B chat, but the same thing happens in B2C, business to consumer, when we talk about, go back to Steve and iPhone, not the iPhone. When people in marketing think that there's this passionate, mad, crazy love for iPhones, half of it, really, I think the reason people stick with an iPhone is because of the exhaustion of switching over to Android, over to Google.
Absolutely. And but now my people will see me as green text. I mean, that's pretty much,
Well, that too. So it's both. It's both. It's a good example of both because there are a lot of cases where just the switching cost itself is exhausting.
Yeah.
But that's a big chunk of it. Yeah.
And we do everything we can to minimize cognitive load and an unnecessary expense of that.
Yeah.
And the idea of the switching cost of I have to learn where this is now, this button is, whatever it is. Actually, I was in a management training thing and they had a really, really good exercise. They said, everybody unlock your phone and pass it just one person to the right.
Okay.
And they said, okay, you have 3 minutes. Go ahead and move all their shortcuts around anywhere you want.
Brutal.
And everyone goes, no. And they grab their phone back. And they said, before you decide that you're going to roll out new processes and new tools and new everything else, you are doing this equivalent to people's daily jobs.
Yeah, that's a great one. I love that.
And it was
that.
Okay, and so look, change has to happen, but not all change is good, and not all change has to happen. And so when you decide, you got to do it decisively.
Yep.
But I think there is a lot of change that happens just to, as my old boss used to say, don't mistake motion for progress.
Absolutely. I love that exercise though, because it's so visceral.
Right,
And
right.
you can talk about change management, and you can talk about the cognitive load, and you can talk about the cost in productivity to your team by switching. But when you tell a room full of executives that someone else is going to move all their app icons around on their phone, they lose their mind, right? They lose their shit.
Right. And and as when I was CEO of the agency, one of my biggest things was sniff tests are so much better than rubrics and long assessments
Good.
because
Yeah.
it's like when I'm interviewing a vendor now, one of the things I'll say is you lose a deal. Someone you think absolutely should go with you and they call you and they go, "Hey, we've gone with someone else." And your answer and your thought is they're going to be back in 6 months. They're so wrong for choosing that other vendor because fill in the blank. And universally, everybody goes, "I've never been asked that before." Wow. Yeah, the reason that people are wrong when they go with other vendors is because of this, this, and this. And it reveals more about their product in those 15 seconds
Yeah.
than me asking this laundry list of questions.
Tell me about your services, your features, your
Exactly. And
Yep.
so the sniff tests they can make you viscerally feel.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. And you still need to do that in B2B because you're dealing with the same squishy humans.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So good. Yeah, one of my exercises for people to help them understand how little people really want to think about what they buy and what they do and all that is I say, and this is not a rhetorical question. I say, what's 6 + 5? And people
11.
say
Yep.
11, and I say, what's 6 × 5? And they go 16
Hopefully
times
they say
6 ×
30.
5. That's 30. And then I
Hopefully.
say, what's 16 × 5?
Yep. Hopefully they say 80, but probably not as fast.
Some of the gears start to turn slower, and some people in the room are like 80, and some of the people catch up. And then
Yep.
I say, what's 16 × 15?
Yep.
And everything slows down, and people start to giggle, and most people give up.
Hopefully
And that's
it's
one of the
about
most telling
240.
things.
Hopefully it's about 240. I think
It's
about
probably in that zone. I'm not gonna give away the answers. And then my final one, and I say this is not a rhetorical question. It's not a
Yeah.
closed book test. What's 16? What's 6 to the 5th?
Yeah. Fuck. I mean,
And right, everybody gives up. And
I mean,
so
you can go 6 cubed is about as good as I'm going to get.
yeah, and that's you. And it sounds like math is one of your love languages. So good
Yeah,
on you.
I enjoy it. Yeah.
Most people have given up. And I say, if you've given up basic arithmetic, how the hell are you going to really figure out which motor oil is the best for your car? How the hell are you really going to figure out which dishwasher is going to be best over the long run? It's too much effort. And not only that, in your pocket, going back to this incredible device, not only is it an MP3 player and a web browser and a phone, it has a calculator.
Right.
And
And nobody pulled it out.
nobody pulled it out. Oh, maybe, and I've done this in so many rooms around the world, maybe one or two people in the room will pull out their calculator on their phone, figure out where the hell the calculator function is, because you
Yep.
don't use it much, and then they have to figure out how to find the exponent function, which in this case sometimes means turning the calculator sideways, turning the phone sideways, so it
Got
shows
it.
more buttons, and it really, hopefully, I think it does, show people how lazy they are, and how much effort it feels like just to do a simple thing like arithmetic.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
again, marketing departments will often have, like a community and reviews person,
Yep.
that meshes with affiliate, and
Yes.
they'll have a measurement person. And what they, I mean, imagine it's a dishwasher company, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
what they don't take into account when they're doing all of this measurement is, oh, I walked outside to get my mail, and my neighbor was getting his or her mail as well, and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And I said, "Oh, I have to buy a new dishwasher." And they said, "Oh, we just bought a blank, and we love it," and you decide to buy that. Right? Like
Yes.
all the affiliate links in the world, all the science in the world, all that other stuff. And there's just,
Yep.
I don't know, stochasticity, if that's the word, or if there's just such a wide
Yeah.
variance.
Randomness, right?
Yeah, exactly. See,
Randomness.
this is
But
why I don't.
stochasticity is the technical. Yes, you got it.
Is
You nailed
it?
it.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep. Stochastic. Yes.
Yeah.
Random. Dynamic. Yep. Yep. And that's, frankly, Jay, that's a lot of what I do is I just translate a lot of stuff from academia and from the technical world into the simple things that are like minutes instead of months.
Yeah.
It's the same. So I love it that you do that too. Yeah.
I
Minutes
try.
instead of months.
Yeah. I have been told that, like, yeah, you can simplify, but then sometimes I make things overly complex, and that's when I need you to correct me from stochasticity to randomness.
Hey man, practice, practice, practice. It's
Yeah.
here's
Yeah.
here's a trick. Maybe there's a book in here that I'll write one day, but good marketing to adults is often very much like good marketing to good communication to children. Rhymes, alliteration, short
Oh, yeah.
words, characters. I mean, the Aflac duck, which I bang on about all the time. Come on.
Yep. Yeah, I remember when I was a kid and I first realized, like, wait, that dump truck that they're advertising on my cartoons or whatever, I don't have that huge sandbox and apparatus in my basement that makes it look so fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I buy these things, I get them home, and it's not nearly as cool as it looks on TV, and so, like, again, but the lesson there is, like, you can make it look,
Yes.
and you have to give people the mentality of what it will be like in that environment. And
So
yeah,
along with minutes instead of months, do you have
Yeah.
other shortcuts or tricks or tools to help your own customers of Cartograph AI understand what you offer?
So I think that what we have found so far is just to, again, to get to the visceral component. One thing I ask agencies is, have you gotten any unsolicited outreach from vendors via email in the last week? And they go, I can't even. It's all in the, and I go, what happens if one of those was the perfect solution for your client?
Right.
And they're like, well, yeah, and we know that, and like, that's the thing, but the tax is so high, and I go, okay, what if instead of having to rely on your spam folder
Right.
as your vendor discovery platform,
Right.
you had somewhere where you could actually just go and put in your criteria, and it returned it.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, that would be fantastic. I go, well, good. I'm glad you're going to use our product.
Right. That's a good one. And because it's
Yeah.
instantly relatable.
Yeah, so that's what I find in all my presentations, my client presentations that I've done, anything,
Yeah.
it's making it as relatable as possible.
Yeah.
I remember we were working with a client one time, and viewability in advertising became a really big thing, and time in view. Like
what? So for instance, if there's a pop-up ad on Vice.com, do people actually even see it, or is it down in a corner, or is it under three other pop-ups?
right. So
Viewability.
is it
Okay.
is it seen, yes or no?
Yep.
And then if it's seen, for how long?
Right.
And
Okay.
and I think the median back then, it was about like 1.6 seconds.
Okay.
And so I went to an agency that they were giving us the creative, we were doing the media, and I said, let me load one of your ads. And I had my iPhone, of course, and I hit the stopwatch, and at 1.6 seconds, I yanked the HDMI cord out. And they said, what happened? And I said, the consumer stopped watching your ad.
Right.
And they said, but we didn't even get to the product or the logo yet. I said, and that would be the problem, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Wouldn't that be a shame? That's great.
Right. And so
I love
I
it.
think it's making people realize in their environment what the typical environment can be like.
Yes. Yes. Bringing it to life and having them
Yep.
really experience it from the consumer's perspective.
Yeah, and same with when you're choosing a vendor or whatever, it's helping people see what will my day to day be like this, so that I don't regret the decision 6 months from now.
Right. Right.
Right? Because it's easy to get caught up in the we could and we might and this, and it's like, okay, but once you're in the thick of it,
Yeah.
how are you going to feel?
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little exercise I do for B2B, because a lot of B2B folks don't think branding is relevant to them.
oh,
Branding, the concept of branding, for some reason, to them, they think that's like Apple or Nike, and that
Okay.
they're all about their product and their service, right? That it's and about the team, and so I do hear that a fair bit. And so one of my exercises is I'll pull up beforehand. I'll pull up their website and 3 competitors' websites,
no. Yep.
and I'll show them for a half a second.
Yep.
On screen, off the screen.
Yep.
And then I'll say, what did you get from that? And did you get anything, first of all? And then second of all, what impression did you get? And then instantly, well, first they're confused, but then they all have things they say. Because they've made an instant judgment in a half of a second.
Right.
And I say that there is branding. That's because there's nothing said. There's nothing about the service. There's nothing about your features. There's nothing about the coverage area, the price, none of that. But the instant impression people have is a big part of what we would call branding. And then they go, oh. So it helps them. Like, you are absolutely in branding. You brand all the time. You just don't see it as branding.
Yeah, and I think it's just a different plane, like a different plane that people need to think on.
Yeah.
And it's very similar, like, the apple falls from the tree, and it's very easy to just measure gravity, like without taking into account the curvature of the earth and
Correct.
space, time, and all that other stuff. Because
Yep.
at that scale, it's so minute. All of the other Einstein stuff, it's so minute that it doesn't matter.
Right.
But okay, well, if you're going to drop from 12 miles above her, okay, well, that's a different story. And so I think marketing functions, they need to have people that think in different zoom levels, in different planes.
Yes.
Right, because
Yeah.
I don't want the person who is writing the copy thinking at that plane necessarily, because the branding, you'll never read the copy.
Right.
Right? You're writing the copy for the people that will read the copy.
Correct. There are different scales at which your consumers are going to interact with you.
Right. And you have to know that's going to happen.
Yeah. And a lot of it's nonverbal, and you got to communicate that way. And then some of it's verbal. And then to go back to this metaphor I like to use about the elephant and the rider, like the elephant is in your brain.
Jonathan Haidt.
Jonathan Haidt, the psychologist who came up with this. The elephant is kind of your unconscious. It's the one that drives while you're singing your favorite Kanye West song.
Yes, sounds good.
And the rider, the little puny human on top, is actually the one remembering all the Kanye West lyrics and thinking about the impacts of Kanye West and how he's changed over the years and blah, blah, blah. But the elephant is driving you home, meanwhile, unconsciously.
And you can try as hard as you want to steer that elephant, and sometimes you have no control.
Right. So then there's communicating at the elephant level, which is the half a second on the screen. When you walk into a room, what are you wearing? All of those instant impressions. And then there are the places where you need to connect with the rider, but that's a different scale. That's a different level. I work with a lot of packaged goods brands at grocery, and Some of them really love to talk about the claims on the package and the logical, rational claims of how their
Right.
product is superior.
Yes,
And
and there are some times where with some people that matters.
yes,
Like I'm in a mindset of I'm looking for how many grams of protein. Then
yes,
your protein claim matters. But
yep.
to 86 people out of 100 or 92 out of 100, it doesn't.
Bingo. And that's a lot of what I do is help recalibrate the proportions. Like, sure,
Yep.
leave the claims on the pack, leave the
Right.
facts and the stats, but realize you're talking to 1 out of 10 people.
That's it.
And the other 9 out of 10 want to see a cute little baby penguin.
I mean, Dawn soap with the little ducks, right?
That's a great example.
right,
you know-
like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, my understanding of that was Dawn started as, I mean, it's a great grease cutter. It really is. Dawn's
Oh,
a
yeah.
good product. And so as proof of how good their product is, they actually created a cause marketing program to clean wildlife in oil spills.
correct. And now it's their
Dawn.
symbol on the bottle.
Right. Because
How do you
because
argue?
well, and here's the middle ground. Here's the middle ground, Jay, which is part of the story. So Dawn Saves Wildlife was a cause marketing program.
Right.
And they only did it, once a year, and then they put the little baby ducklings or baby penguins on the front.
Yeah.
But they sold a shit ton of Dawn, and most people still didn't know that it was a cause program. They just wanted a cute duckling on their kitchen sink.
If it's safe enough for that cute little duck,
Yeah.
right? Like I mean,
Right, but
whichever.
that's the logical piece. Most
okay.
people didn't even connect logically. That most
They just
people
thought it was a
didn't.
cute duck.
They thought it was a cute duck. Another example. So then, yes, for Dawn, it began as a proof point, a logical proof point that their stuff is safe
Right.
and good because it cleans ducks in oil spills.
Yep.
And then they put baby ducklings on the front to talk about the cause marketing program.
Right.
Most people just snapped it up because it was cute, a cute bottle. Didn't
That's it,
even
yeah.
know that it was a cause marketing program and that Dawn actually does clean wildlife during oil spills. And then Dawn finally woke up to this fact that a majority of their buyers it was the elephant, not the rider. A majority of the buyers were just like, oh my God, it's a cute penguin, baby penguin. Oh my God, it's a cute duckling. I want that on my kitchen counter. And they said, maybe we should just use the ducklings all the time. And now the ducklings are actually the mascots for Dawn.
Right. So let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
CFO says, board says, CEO says, like, great. What are you doing next quarter to make our marketing more efficient, better?
Yep.
Okay. And if the answer is we're going to take the ducklings and always using, right, like measuring that's really hard. The most interesting man in the world campaign took 2 years
Yeah.
to really take hold and return measurable results that were,
Did it? 2 years?
well, that were like statistically confident above the category.
Okay, sure. Yeah. I mean, they saw
Okay.
a quick reaction
Yes.
and sales
But-
did turn quickly, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah. And so how do you communicate with those? Because I often say we're going to measure ourselves into obsolescence,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like, because there is no, if we just get to that finite level of measurement,
Yep.
then we will have convinced them.
Yeah.
There is no level of precision that is actually accurate enough because it's a chaotic system
Yep.
that will statistically convince a CFO or a board. And so how do you bring those two planes together for your
This is a challenge, Jay. It is a big challenge, and sadly, I think it's sometimes also a reason to bitch about the board or the boardroom, and not do your job of making actually good work. But here's one of the things that I do is I give case studies where there are things that defy logic and yet work.
Okay.
The Aflac duck is a great example. The CEO didn't even show the board the first Aflac duck commercial because it was indefensible. He's like,
Right.
I have my own evidence and my own understanding and my own principles for
Sure.
understanding why it's going to work. But I can't go to the board and rationally explain it. So when I share some of these cases with these very left-brained people, these rational
Yeah.
people that want rational explanation,
Yep.
and show the success, that helps them see, oh, this weird, mushy shit works. I don't understand it. That's a problem on me, not a problem on you.
And that's the thing. Yes. I think, yeah, had you gone to the board of the Houston International Airport and said, we're going to solve our customer satisfaction by making the walk to luggage 18 minutes instead of 7,
Correct.
they would have said you're ridiculous.
Right.
But indeed, their satisfaction scores went way up on how quickly baggage was delivered. And so,
I love
right.
that story, and most people probably don't know that example.
Yeah.
So were you involved in that at all?
No, I read every study I possibly can
Okay.
about this.
So that one I love because you're right. Satisfaction at an airport is low when you have to stand around waiting for your damn baggage. One way to solve it is to get the bags there faster.
It's one.
That's an engineering solution, as Rory Sutherland would say. The other way to solve it is to make people walk longer so that the bags have time. And then they show up and their bags are either there already or show up in a minute.
Same net effect, right? Like same net effect mentally.
Yep.
And so, I mean, getting that past the board is bound to be a hard thing.
So what I do find, to your question, how do you persuade the board to do something like the most interesting man in the world, something like we're going to put ducklings on the front of our pack and it's going to sell more, is A, show them examples where it works. B, lead those examples to scientific principles.
Yep.
That then C, you don't have to retest for gravity. Like, we have shown that this is a principle, that your customers like ducks, they like swarthy men who say fun things, and they like ducklings.
Yep.
You don't have to go out and retest for that fact. Now, you don't understand that because you're Mr. Factual, you're a CFO, you're an MBA, whatever.
Right.
Leave it to the psychologists to understand how to connect to your consumer. And it takes us to we should wrap up, but that takes us to a point that I think is really important and isn't really talked about much. Right now, all the onus is on marketing to speak the language of the boardroom, to speak the language of ROI and finance. And the CFO is the big mucky muck in the boardroom because she or he speaks finance and knows finance. And my buddy Paul Worthington talks about this. That was a concerted strategy for the past 20 years to make finance central. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a similar issue that I see in all these parlor tricks we talk about and making people, change the buttons on your phone, or make people do math, or make people remember taglines and jingles from when they were 12. It behooves the board to realize that psychology is as important, if not more important, than finance for selling to your market, whether it's B2B or B2C.
Yeah,
and I think understand that.
And you look at the boardroom, and you look at you have an 8 a.m. meeting, and 8 out of 15 people walk in with a cup of coffee. Yep. And you've got X number of people with a Starbucks logo, X number of people with a gas station logo, and X number of people with a mug from home.
Correct.
And it's like, hey, right off the bat, you said something about yourself.
Yes.
Right? I'm the kind of person that goes to Starbucks. I'm the kind of person that makes my coffee at home.
Yeah.
Right? And you do that thousands of times per day.
Yeah.
But you haven't told me about all those. Why?
Yeah.
Because you don't think about them.
Correct.
Now you're overthinking your own business.
Correct. Yes. It's a double standard. Like, I behave one way, but I assume that my customers are going to behave another way. Not even a double standard. I call it amnesia. You get amnesia when you start running a business or a brand, and you forget what it's like to be a normal person.
Yeah, and there's 5, 16, 20 personality profiles or whatever, and each of us is one, and we assume everybody else thinks like we do.
Yeah. Oh man, we've covered a lot of ground today.
Yes.
Not sure it'll be easy to wrap up or recap or summarize a lot, but a couple of the things we've touched on, and you can help me with this. One of them is B2B and B2C are surprisingly similar.
Yes.
Because people are, lazy is the wrong word because it's too pejorative, but we don't want to make a ton of effort. It's exhausting to change. It's hard to change. We want to do things that are easy. People are efficient. People crave, and people have more important shit to do, right?
That's it.
They got to figure out where their car keys are, and they got to take care of their kids or their dogs, or
they got to get so-and-so to soccer, and they got to,
they want to go exercise. So B2B and B2C are really similar. A lot of people don't want to take the effort to do the math, to figure out which new, martech platform they should hire.
Yep.
They want something that's easy to explain your own company. Cartograph AI.
Yep.
You want to come up with some really simple, easy things like minutes instead of months.
Yep. Or fifth meeting intelligence in 30 seconds or whatever.
Fifth meeting. Yep. Fifth meeting smarts. Fifth meeting decision in the first meeting or in the 30 seconds. Or don't let your spam folder lose or kill the best provider you'd ever found. Or there's a phrase in there. There's something catchy, right?
Learn about a vendor without entering their sales funnel.
Yes. There's something simple. We
I'm
need
trying them all.
Yep. But you need that simple, super simple, easy to remember, rolls off the tongue stuff, even for B2B.
Yeah.
Even for B2B. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's because these timeless principles about how the brain works apply even in the age of AI.
Oh yeah.
The rise of
absolutely.
Machines.
Yeah, and try typing into ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whatever. Give me a visceral, forward punchy line, and it's not very good at it. Not yet.
Not yet.
Right, and so for right now, I think we're in a time where the human and machine balance is so exceptionally powerful.
Yeah. I do think there will be a time when it gets better in the same way that 2 years ago it couldn't do hands.
Right.
Human hands, that was the big joke. Look at all the fingers.
Yeah, right.
and now it can do video of hands, and it's pretty much perfect. And there's a guy right now who's doing jokes with AI. People said AI couldn't write jokes. He's like, actually, I've dialed one in. I've dialed an LLM in. So, but you're right. It's still hard to come up with the quicker picker-upper with AI, but you need the quicker picker-upper even if you're selling some super fancy tech service for a martech stack.
Yes, that is it. Yeah. And I think, yes, you're right. Even in B2B, the ones who make it cognitively instant and memorable will win.
Let's end there.
Love it.
All right, I'm going to go listen to some Kanye West. Because you can still separate the art from the artist. You have to.
I do.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's not clean, but you can still appreciate great art. Yep. So we'll say goodbye for now.
Okay, you got it.
Talk to you soon, Jay.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
If you've ever listened to the show and thought, man, my team could use this stuff, then call me. Training teams on brand science is literally what I do. Learn more at appliedbrandscience.com. And remember, people don't share your content because they love your brand. They share your content because they love their friends. See you next time.